Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. You're you. I'm Gary Palmer Jr., and together we are minting coins. There's a lot to talk about, a week before Thanksgiving, a lot to be thankful for. And I think that is a good time to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about, catching up on the FTX situation. We're going to catch up on the ENS DAO proposal for choosing a fund manager. We have the results in for that. And we're going to be talking about Web3 crypto prisoners of war. We're going to be talking about Ross. We're going to be talking about Virgil. We're going to be talking about Alexey. And then we're also going to be talking about the ENS small grants. We have the ENS small grant fund, 5 Ethereum going to 5 projects and another 5 Ethereum going to another 5 projects. There's a lot to go over and a lot to get into. And we have some people to get into it with. We have 184, we have Novax, we have Tech Mental, we have a bunch of other people who are scheduled to come on the show. 184, hey, how you doing? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? What is your name and who are you?
I'm doing well, Gary. I'm 184.eth. I got into blockchain crypto back in 2017, shortly after I minted my first ENS. I stick around because I enjoy trading, investing, all things Web3, ENS, and decentralization.
Awesome. And we have Novax. Hey, Novax, what is your name and who are you?
Yo, Gary, minting coins fam. It's NOVAX.eth, N0VAX.eth rather. Find me on Twitter, N0VAX NFT. And recently I've been working on the 100K cat.eth, 100K 100,000 avatar project for the 100K Club subdomain avatar project. I'm often found hanging with the 24-hour club on Wednesdays. I just got done doing a little chill hangout with the Cyber Crypto Skull. I'm community manager for the first Crypto Skull derivative project. We're metaverse-oriented proj. And what else? I'm an ENS and historical NFT collector and love hanging out with you guys, having the opportunity to get into it. So thanks, Gary, for hosting.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. Tech Mental. Hey, what is your name and who are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Identify as Tech Mental. I have identified since the late 90s. Been a pixel artist, web developer since then. And, took on that natural evolution of going from Web 2 into Web 3. For the past 5-6 years, I've represent Web3 Miami. You can find more information about me at web3.miami. So I'm just here with the group, ready to jump in.
Yeah, I love it. You got the branding down. Techmental.eth, web3.miami. That's a great 2 web domain. Web 2 domain. Has anyone ever told you that? That's a high value Web 2 domain you got there.
Which one? My Tech Mental? Oh, the Web3.miami?
Yeah, the Web3.miami is the Web 2 name, and the Techmental.eth is the Web 3 name. But yeah, the Web 3 Miami. I mean, it's to me. I don't know about you, but to me, it screams Web 3 and it screams Miami.
Yeah, aesthetically and functionality. Techmental.com actually. As you can see behind me, will be 23 years old this March.
Cool.
That's my baby, and that's my dependent at the end of the day. And Web3.miami, is my relay, my forward to that. So yeah, I have a bunch of other DNSs that I'm little by little turning into kind of Web3 deposits. So yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, Web 2 domainer, Web 3 domainer, maybe we can talk about that a little bit later on. But speaking of people that know domains and domainers, we have a shark in the room, Stephen Miller.
What's going on, Gary? Glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, what is your name and what is your identity and who are you?
So I'm Stephen Miller. I am one of the hosts of ENS Shark Tank on Twitter Spaces, but I do a whole bunch of other stuff in Web3 throughout the day. I run a company called Cryptocurrent that's focused on Web3 education and connecting folks. But I just love this space, man. And I'm really glad to be able to be here tonight with you guys. Love getting the chance to see so many familiar faces that I've never actually seen in real life before. So thrilled to be here.
Yeah, the video is fun. I have to say, I've been really enjoying the video. Some people are saying, I don't know, Gary, like every day it sounds like a lot. And for me, it's just, I mean, I'm out here, I'm living, I'm existing, I'm talking about this stuff. I'm doing it on Twitter, I'm doing it in real life. What's the difference if I just do it for an hour or two online? And there's no shortage of people that want to talk about it. There's no shortage of things to talk about. And yeah, I just love connecting with people. And Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse was a game changer, right? Going from text to voice. Video is just that much more. So thanks for being here, Steve.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me, man. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, and then we have 0x pickleball emojis all over the place. 0x pickleball.eth.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Great to be here. Thanks for having me. I mean, I'm probably the furthest away from Web3 from all you guys. So I'm actually in real life a professional tennis stringer, and I got into this space about a year ago. And I'm trying to find innovative ways to bring marketing into the tennis world to get into them, to transition from Web 2 to Web 3. And this is the best way that I can, do that, from this side. So thanks for having me. I'm very excited about, this whole space from Twitter space. And obviously now you're having YouTube, which I think is great. A lot of more, access for people who are used to, hey, certain things on YouTube. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Thanks for, just participating and, there's a lot to talk about, and it's good for us to get a lot of voices in there. It's good for us to get more people involved. And, I really appreciate you being involved. And I really appreciate everybody being involved. And, and being involved means liking this video and subscribing to this channel. This is mintingcoins.com. This is Minting Coins on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. We are live streaming on Twitter and Rumble and everywhere. So wherever you're watching this, subscribe, like if you can like this video. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. And check out mintingcoins.com. Go to mintingcoins.com and become a member. Become a member and get members access to our forum, to our members only videos, and help support us, because supporting us helps us, do what we're doing and continue, having these conversations and bringing these conversations to you. So go to mintingcoins.com, and I definitely encourage you to become a member and become part of our community. Yeah, so there's a lot happening in this space. I don't know. You guys don't have to tell me where in the world you are, but I'm in America, and over here we're basically, this is the week of Thanksgiving, the last Thursday of the month, and time to be thankful, time to reflect. Good secular holiday that sort of everybody can participate in. And, reflection is something that's good to do all the time, right? Reflect on our business decisions, reflect on our personal decisions, reflect on some of our life decisions. And, there's a lot to talk about. I got some things to reflect on, talking about crypto prisoners of war, talking about money being given away to people to kind of pursue their dreams. I think that's pretty wild. But I thought I'd just go around the room real quick and, thinking about Web3 and thinking about what we're doing in this space, whatever you're into, let it be ENS or Web3 or something related. What are you thankful for, maybe, or I don't want to get all New Year's-y and talk about 2023, but maybe looking into the past, maybe New Year's will look into the future. But I guess being thankful and looking into the present and the past. Anything you guys are thankful for, or anything you guys want to call out, or anything you guys think of?
I'm going to jump in here because, I can't stand the silence. I got to get it. I think for me, the first thing that comes to mind is the networking and the big and the broad and firm foundation that's been laid down, over these last months. Not a lot of evergreen content really created there. But the relationships are very evergreen, especially connected to the ENS identity. Now I feel like I have persistence of friendship that's platform agnostic. It's ENS universal, and that feels great to have such a broad network of people who understand that and have that same feeling about it.
The community networks. That's for real.
I want to say mental health. I think I'm practicing.
Is he thinking about practicing, or is he paused? I think he froze upon. Oh, he's back. Yeah, you were practicing, and then you went into this deep meditative state, Tech Mental.
Yeah, dude, I was channeling bro.threadgirl. No, so yeah, I was letting AKA 0x Pickle know if he can lace my racquetball racket. That'd be cool. I just got back from racquetball a couple of hours. I had a headache earlier working on a couple of stuff, working on cyber, a couple of galleries there, and I just felt myself getting overwhelmed trying to do too many things, and I gotta be back by 8:55 to jump on Gary's show, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes it's like you gotta, like, especially I'm like a one-man show. I've always been a one-man show, so it's like I gotta be my HR. I gotta be everything. It's like, hey, guess what? I put my little alarms. You gotta be, in South Beach in about 20 minutes. Beat traffic. Go play racquetball a couple hours, and literally I'm in there. Headache went away. Everything went away. Things are flowing. So mental health is very important. And I'm thankful for being healthy and going forward and being able to do what I'm still doing after like 25 years, you know what I mean? And still pushing buttons, still pushing pixels, still meeting, twice as young as myself. And these guys are the ones, Novaks and the new generation, it's what, kind of pushes me, and I'm glad to be in this environment and still kind of, pushing buttons, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely health and mental health is, I think, very important. What I'm thankful for.
For real. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff. Community of network and mental health. Yeah, I thought we were going to get right into the tech. I'm thankful for censorship resistance, immutable blockchain technology.
Look, I'll hop off mute and go completely to the left of tech. How about that? Because again, we're going to keep the trend going. To me, the big thing that I'm thankful for this year is just the fact that I'm able to teach in the space. We don't really take the time to appreciate that very often. The fact that we get to be like deep in the weeds, helping people understand, and also at the same time educating ourselves along the way. A lot of people don't have that freedom. And it's really, really empowering to be able to help people figure this stuff out along the way. I've loved doing that since I jumped full-time into the space in 21. Proud to say that I've been here for now a year and 11 months, about to go on 2 years, and I'm not going anywhere soon. This is where I want to spend my career, and I'm happy to say that I found it. So here's to being grateful for being able to teach and grateful for understanding the path.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick. I mean, like I said, the trend is, honestly, sorry about that. I got rugged a little bit. I'm very thankful for the opportunities. Obviously, with tennis, I was huge on Web2 with the whole Instagram and, doing that. And then it got really boring for the last 10 years. I started the Instagram and the YouTubes and stuff like that over like 8 years ago. And I felt like, man, I was so tired doing the same old content, seeing the same old thing, selling the same old thing. And when Web3 came out, it was like, this is my perfect chance to kind of make the imprint. Like, not too many things you can say, like, in the past, like, hey, I was a part of that. I was the first one, right? Numero uno. And I feel like this gives me the opportunity to put my name into a sport that I really love. And it gave me a lot of hope. When I got out of the military, I started tennis and just, doing my tennis business, helping people just like Steve Miller. I made YouTube videos to help stringers make more, passive income, things like that, help them with marketing. If they weren't able to get a contract, I would help them. And this is just another way for me to help, the street stringers, the independent stringers and the independent, mom and pop shop move forward from the brick and mortar and actually, be part of this Web3. And I think it's amazing with the technology that we have.
And I'll go to tail end. I'll say I'm thankful for the fact that we have an entirely global network here. So I think there's not many workplaces you can go to where you've got, say, 5 or 10 people of different nationalities, let alone cultures, because nations are made up of many cultures. But here we have, at pretty much any time of the day, access to someone from anywhere in the world, and we are constantly learning, we are constantly growing, and that exposure is profound. So I'm exceptionally thankful for that, because there has certainly been an influx of that in the last 12 months.
Wow, that's all an awesome list of gratefulness, and definitely a lot to be thankful for that I think we each share, right? That this technology is, been created and brought to us, and we've been fortunate enough to stumble upon it from wherever we are in the world. And, we've been able to make these connections. We've been able to, create this path. We've been able to, help other people. We've been able to help ourselves. We've been able to, have mental health, you know what I mean? And have that care for ourselves and help other people to have that care for themselves, right? Through their journey that they came from and the journey that they're on. And the whole internet, was like really meaningful, how people could connect. And then the fact that we have these tokens in Web3 and this technology in Web3 to distribute the trust has really elevated those relationships, those human relationships, that's improved the technology. And even though it's improved the technology, and it's helped a lot of people. You know what else helped a lot of people? Dynamite. And there was some dude who invented dynamite. I think his last name was Nobel. And he felt really bad and created the Nobel Peace Prize because the dynamite was used for so much bad stuff, right? Dynamite can be used for good or for bad. And a lot of trailblazers that get hit in the crossfire. And first thing I want to talk about, one of those people is Ross Ulbricht. We got a couple of those people, but anybody know this story? The whole hashtag free Ross Ulbricht. He created a website that allowed people to trade, like marijuana and different drugs like that. Things where people weren't hurting each other and they really weren't hurting themselves. And if you check out the documentaries without getting into the whole story, Ross had a bad rap, and there's a lot of, what I would describe as like not fair things that happened during the investigation and during the trial. And he's serving 2 life sentences plus a bunch of years. This was like the original sort of big attack on somebody that was creating sort of open technology and open source technology. Anybody know about this story, or anybody want to say anything about
Free Ross?
Yeah,
Free Ross. I'm for the captain, man. The Dread Pirate is
Pirate
an
Roberts.
inspiration. I think I would send him pirate flag, a crown emoji, if I had his ETH address. Maybe we should do that. It's about to expire. I think the guy is basically a heroic martyr, and I understand that there's some contention, okay, even within the community that's for, the liberty perspective on it, and for Aaron Swartz and Assange and everyone who's been persecuted for liberating information and making open source tech. This, there are implications with it and stuff, and so there are people who kind of said, look, this guy was kind of flagrantly facilitating these illegal transactions and everything. And I understand that perspective. Me personally, I'm of the mind that free free Ross, man. That's just where I stand. I think the guy should be. I think the laws are wrong. In this case, they've probably been applied correctly or whatever. You know what I mean? Like as they're written or whatever. But I think that's not the world I want to live in. Where a world where the Dread Pirate ends up in jail for facilitating liberty-oriented commerce. It's like, I'm not for people getting on drugs. I'm a father. So I was going to say, one of the things I'm grateful for is my oldest son's turning 9 this month, and then my youngest son just going to be 4 months. I think he's 4 months now. And so I want a safe world for my children and my family, and I don't want to promote drug use. I think one of the ways that you do that is you kind of decriminalize some of this stuff. And so anyway, I just celebrate that vision, and I know that we're a long way off in the world from getting there, but I'm for basically giving people the liberty to make their choice.
Yeah, well, he was so here it's like detailing he was a first-time offender. He was a smart guy, no criminal record, like kind of like a programmer. Probably not even the developer, probably not the original Dread Pirate Roberts, but all non-violent charges, but he was still hit with 2 life sentences, 40 years without parole, condemned to die in prison for creating an anonymous e-commerce website called Silk Road. He was an entrepreneur, passionate about free markets and privacy. A young 26-year-old man when he made the website. He was never prosecuted for causing anybody harm or bodily injury. There was no victim named at the trial. And users of the website exchanged goods, both legal and illegal, including drugs. Not people, hurting people or, pushing this on people, but people looking for, a safe source of something that in some places is legal, in some places is not legal. And this was a free website that didn't have any privacy restrictions. And they did have prohibited anything involuntarily that would cause harm to a third party. And he himself was never convicted of selling drugs. Never, he was held responsible for what other people sold. That's like Jack Dorsey being held responsible for what somebody said on Twitter. And basically Ross was just, running a free market website. Yeah, a lot of people think that he hurt somebody. He never did.
Well said, Gary. I really appreciate all the context on this, and I welcome everyone to comment. I'd love to hear your view on this. Open sourcing of information is very important to me. I wrote my senior thesis in college when I finished my undergrad in tech entrepreneurship and management. I wrote it on blockchain, social media being a tool to preserve freedom of expression amidst a very oppressive kind of a situation with the big tech. And so this is really important stuff. And along the way, I learned about Lawrence Lessig and Aaron Swartz and a lot of the people who've been, along this journey. So it's important that there are people standing up for the principled arguments here. And so thank you for doing that.
Well, it's not just Ross, right? It's also other people like Virgil Griffith, who's an American programmer, also known as Roman Poet, worked extensively in the Ethereum cryptocurrency platform. Have you guys ever heard of that? What is this? What is this? Ethereum cryptocurrency platform. He did a lot of things for ENS, including ETH.link. He's the dude who did that super originally. And yeah, he's also in jail.
And that's why the link, the .link expired and nobody was able to renew it.
Yeah, because it was yeah, exactly. It was in his account, and that date came and went, and there wasn't somebody there, and yeah, but it eventually ended up in the hands of the DAO. Long story short,
it might sound a little bit ridiculous, but to me, this case, the prior case with Ulbricht, and also what you've got going on in Europe right now with the guy that was basically detained for having worked on the open source code behind Tornado Cash. The big issue to me is that these are all people that are being put away for extended periods for violent crimes. Yet we see so many people that are scammers online regularly getting away with this type of behavior and not necessarily serving the appropriate time when there was legitimately malicious intent. That's the part that really messes me up, is the fact that you have malicious actors, true bad actors out in the space that are getting off, while you have people that are just simply trying to contribute, at least from my viewpoint, right? I know plenty of people disagree with me on that, but they're constantly in play. They're constantly being pressed. They're constantly the ones that are getting put away for longer periods of time because ultimately other people chose to use their platform or their programming for malicious things. It seems kind of backwards to me.
Yeah, we'll get to Alexey in 1 second. Yeah, just to not brush over Virgil. Virgil sentenced in April, just this past April, to 5 years in prison for his trip to North Korea for his crime of giving a presentation talk at a crypto conference. So because he went to North Korea and gave a talk at the crypto conference in North Korea, he's now spending 5 years.
Something to the effect of describing how what is it? Zcash
And $100,000.
Zcash, how Zcash works, about being 100% anonymous going one way, 100% anonymous going the other, which is just public information. I think it's something to that effect. In other words, information that's already out there. It's not like we're breaking into the Pentagon and, you know, disclosing X files.
Yeah. It wasn't the content that was the problem. It was the fact that he even went there, and that he even went there and shared information with, you know, the North, you know, the people who went to that conference.
So is he being prosecuted in North Korea by North Korea or in his native country?
He's not prosecuted. He is sentenced.
Isn't there a former
and he is
player?
sentenced. He is sentenced by America for violating international sanctions, because there's an international sanction. Just like you can't send money to anybody in Iran, you can't send money to anybody in North Korea. He's convicted of traveling to North Korea. Just like I could go to New York City and give a talk on cryptocurrency. You could go to New York City and give a talk on cryptocurrency. You can go to California and give a talk on cryptocurrency. You can go to Berlin and give a talk on cryptocurrency. But if you do that same thing in North Korea, well, Virgil just got 5 years and $100,000 fine. 5 to 6.5 years. Could be more than 5 years. He's already spent 2 years in custody.
Free Virgil.
And yeah, we already got the call out.
So the difference between him and the former basketball player, that, what's his name, the one that played with
Dennis Rodman, yeah.
Yeah, he goes and visits Kim Jong-un and does little talks and does little things, and who knows what they actually talk about. But I guess it's not. I guess it's not crypto related.
I mean, again, he's sentenced to 5 years in prison for a trip to North Korea. He pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to violate international sanctions. So maybe when the other people go to visit, they have permission where they're not violating sanctions. Maybe there's something, like I'm not that great of an expert where I know, but yeah, somehow he violated international sanctions by visiting and giving a talk, and other people, you know, They don't. But yeah, then we have the Tornado Cash developer, another open source developer. I think he's been in jail for at least 3 months. And he had a court date, and he's going to stay detained until his hearing next year. The Dutch court hearing ruled that the Tornado Cash developer is going to be held for another 3 months as the investigation continues. Alexey Pertsev will spend another 3 months in custody in the Netherlands until his court hearing, which was today, earlier today, their time. Yeah, he's already spent 103 days, over 3 months in custody. And last I checked, he wasn't even charged yet, but I thought I saw someone on Twitter saying that he was finally maybe charged with something, but they're saying that he's a flight risk. So, you know, open source developer, and he's not, and it's an open source thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, putting him in jail stops it from happening. People are choosing to not use it because they're concerned about this legal risk, or because Tornado Cash itself has been added to a sanctions list and nobody wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But, you know, this is just another example of open source developer giving open source information and being in jail. And it's not really clear, you know, what's legal and what's not illegal. Because before all this craziness, right? Like writing open source code hasn't been, you know, illegal. And now people are
sorry to step on your toes there.
No, jump in. I'm waiting for you guys to jump in.
Yeah, it just, the big thing here is this doesn't seem to me like experimentation in online development should be seen as criminal activity. It's on the people that ultimately use it for criminal actions that ultimately are the people that I think should be held responsible. You look at different cases, like you have, I think it was 4 different people who are still not detained across the last year that straight up have run off with millions of dollars and are in different locations where they can't be apprehended and tried for what they've done, right? People like, and I'm sorry again if I'm going too controversial here, but like Do Kwon, Suzu, you've now got SBF on the run. Like there's so many pieces to this that the people with the money just ultimately won't get, you know, held responsible. You have people that are pushing the limits of what technology can do on blockchain, and all of a sudden they're the ones that we should be detaining. I mean, Gary, like, do you attach the two things, or do you see them as two very different things?
Which two things specifically?
Looking at the technological development side versus the financial crime side.
Yeah, I mean, like the actions of the financial crime are different than the technology itself. It's basically like saying, you know, like someone that runs a data center is a criminal because, you know, somebody sent a tweet and it went through that server. You know what I mean? And you know, or basically like back in 1930s, like AT&T is a criminal because the mobsters used the phone lines, right? And the financial crimes to me say that the person committing the financial crime is breaking the law. But just because they're using the telephone technology to transmit the data doesn't mean that the telephone technology is a criminal, or the people that are managing the telephone technology are criminals, or the people writing code or hardware for the telephone technology or the internet technology or the Web3 technology. You know, the people creating the technology, right? It's like criminals use the internet. Like the internet was really controversial because anybody can shoot information. And, you know, we didn't make AOL the criminal. We didn't make, you know, and so of course they're separate things. And if we, you know, cross that precedent, and if we, you know, make the technology illegal, or if we make the expression of code which is the expression of free speech illegal, then you're basically saying what somebody can or can't think. Because if I create a satellite dish, well, that can be used for a financial crime, so that's illegal. And if I create a new pair of shoes, well, I could use those new shoes for part of my financial crime, so those shoes are illegal. It's like you could just say like anything that technology that you make can be used for that financial crime, and by extension, it's illegal. And so, yeah, they absolutely have to be different. It's not like, it's and it seems to be from some of these articles that the intentionally or just because they don't understand Web3, which is very believable, they don't understand Web3, but they think it's like a website. They think like, oh, this young man made a website, and if we put him in jail, then the website will stop working. It's like, no, it's like putting the dude in jail who made SMTP. It's like, no, it's like just a code protocol smart contract, and anybody can run it, and anybody can use it, and the genie's out of the bottle. And yeah, we're not going to like put the guy in jail who invented Twitter because terrorists are using Twitter, and he invented open source code or just code in general. So hope that answers the question. Yeah, super crazy what's possible. And like the risks that are out there. We were talking about this on the show yesterday, right? Because there's like the ENS DAO, there's different DAOs, right? And if the DAO votes, what if the government says, hey, this thing in the DAO, if you vote on this, then we're going to put you in jail. And now it's a risk for me to vote on it. That's like a real thing that we might have to think about. Like there might have to be some sort of technology where like a ZK snark technology where people can vote and you don't know that they vote, but you can prove that they voted, but then maybe you still get in trouble because you voted and you can't prove how you voted. I mean, it's just like crazy town with like the edge that they can put people on, right? Like what am I doing that could or could not be illegal in the world of like free speech and free expression?
But to Stephen Miller's point, it seems like it's almost like it's not the crime that you commit, or if it is a crime, but who are you and what's your status and who are you connected to, right? Because conspiracy theory aside, they show all this stuff about SBF and who he's connected to and who his parents are and who do they contribute to and who this and that. So we know that certain people in certain social circles commit the same crimes that other people, and they don't necessarily go to jail for it. Somebody gets a library, in their college, or this happens. So I think, so
you're basically saying that Alexey and Ross and Virgil messed up because they didn't donate enough to the Democrats and the Republicans, and they
at
didn't
all.
You're right. You're really right. We got to make that a line. We got to start making that a line item budget when we read our business plan. We gotta have like overhead for like staff, and we gotta have like health insurance, and we gotta have rent and computers and software and financial political donations.
we gotta add that to the ENS DAO. No, but I see that every day, just in smaller circles and stuff like that. And I think as long as tech has been around, it's who uses it. You got the Catch Me If You Can, I think the book that became a movie, and the guy counterfeiting money end up being an agent, because he knew how to catch the people and stuff like that. So it's like, it's almost like you don't play the game with them and you play the game on your own just for the mass. You will get in trouble, if you don't want to play the game. What is the higher game? I don't know. Whose side do you have to be on? If you're just on your side and you know who your people are, you're already that lone wolf. I guess if you're a lone wolf, you must be doing something bad. I don't know. I guess we're all lone wolves in a sense,
But I mean, it also comes down to like, what is the end result, right? I think that's probably why I think of the two sides of this with finance and tech so linked, is just because the end result of the individuals who are developing the tech, the coders, the programmers, the developers, they are all ultimately going away, and it communicates to the people that the crime is essentially developing, right? It's pushing boundaries. And what does that ultimately result in? Stifling innovation. What happens if you were to put away somebody like Yatsu, or not Yatsu, I'm messing that up. Suzu, Yatsu's the head of Animoca, my bad. He's completely fine. He's not doing anything wrong. But Suzu, like, if you were to put him away, what does that say? It tells everybody on Wall Street that they shouldn't be doing all the illegal shit that they're ultimately doing, and we all know they're doing. It's just a weird precedent, and the result is different. It's like they're trying to communicate, on one hand, justice, and on the other hand, just keep it quiet.
All crimes are illegal, but some crimes are more illegal than other crimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not a controversial statement to say that there's multiple tiers in the justice system, right? And yeah, and it's just really interesting because there's different lines and there's different boundaries and there's different positions of power. You know, just like the banks and the Bitcoin, the banks, you know, AT&T doesn't like the internet. The banks don't like Bitcoin. I'm sure ICANN isn't a huge fan of ENS, even though they appreciate, I know ICANN does appreciate ENS, the fact that ENS has brought consideration with ICANN and to ICANN and for ICANN. But like, you know, it's, you know, you there's some people that probably see some writing on the wall. And, you know, we're talking about building this future on Ethereum and Chainlink and ZK snarks and Merkle trees and, you know, creating a future that's, you know, sort of fair and open and collaborative. And, you know, I mean, that freaks out a lot of people, right? Including regulators, including governments, including criminal justice, you know, sort of branches. I mean, you know, even if it's like an educational university, right? I mean, any institution doesn't like disruption because they're sitting in a really awesome position. And so disruption is just really scary when you're sitting in a position of power, knowing that the meek are about to inherit the earth.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I love this conversation, and obviously this is probably the first time I've been surrounded by intelligent people, and, you know, just sitting back and listening, and, you know, making a ripple in a big wave, especially in this tennis industry. You know, tell you a little bit about that. It's very old school. Imagine how old tennis is. And, you know, in the business world, it was so hard for me to come in there and like, hey, I got this new idea, this Web3, you know, would you guys listen to me? And only one brand figured it out. And one brand's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be scared, because, you know, just last week before we asked Linko to you know, hey, let's try this .eth, let's try getting you into the metaverse, Web3, whatever you want to call it. Of course, there was that FTX stories and all these bad stories. So like, hey, do a company that really has nothing to do with tech want to even be associated with this ENS or Web3 or metaverse? And it's a hard thing. Like you said, it's stunning our growth, and people are scared, but they took the leap of faith, and, you know, they're kind of sitting back and kind of seeing what it is. But for me, I'm just hoping that this gives me a chance to kind of like, you know, give them the idea like, hey, can be used for so many great use cases for your players, for business in general. And, you know, I'm glad that there's people out there that's willing to listen. But these other big brands like Wilson, Head, Yonex, these other companies that are huge, right, all over the world, they don't want to. I honestly was having a conversation with some of them, and they were like, you know, I don't want anything to do with this as of right now. It doesn't bring us any revenue. But I'm like, yo, you got to plan for the future. And it's like, well, you know, when it gets to that time, then they'll decide. But I'm glad that there was somebody in the tennis business that's willing to take this, you know, this next step. But it's a leap of faith. But yeah, people do not like messing with their money. At the end of the day, like I said, tennis business, there's country clubs, there's, you know, stuff like that. So when we come in and try to like change things up with technology and, you know, do YouTubes and videos and TikTok and all this social media stuff, they get scared. And then, you know, for me, as like I'm so excited about what you guys are talking about, that that freedom of speech, that kind of like, hey, anybody can have a say and be free and not get in trouble with the brands or get your account canceled or something like that. So yeah, I appreciate you guys giving me this knowledge. I mean, I love just listening in. I wish I can contribute more with your intellectual conversation here, but I can actually bring this back to this tennis brand. It's like, hey, this is what people are talking about. This is what the tech is, and it's not just about tennis in general, but it's about the future of I guess us human beings, I guess.
Don't discount yourself for 1 second. You know what I mean? Because tech conversations need to include non-tech people, and just have I mean, I know you have it, so I don't have to say this, but for other people listening, just have the confidence to be in the room. And listen, I'm not a big sports guy, and I I have to admit this, and I don't know a lot about sports, or maybe there's something you know a lot about, but you just got to be comfortable like being in a room and just like trying to figure out what freaking foreign language is being spoken, the best you can. And then, at some point, you just, you catch on to what's really important, and you end up contributing, something where it's like awesome that you're in the room. And yeah, so I'm really super excited because, you're right. This, people, this is about the money, and this is about people caring about the money. And this is about the technology, and this is about people caring about the technology. And is there anybody in here paying attention to the ENS social, the ENS DAO social proposal for choosing the the fund?
What was the result of yesterday's? Is it done? Is it complete?
It's complete. Yeah. So let's go over that real quick. So earlier, like not too long ago, we had a sleeping giant awaken. We had with a bit more than an hour left on the clock, we had Coinbase of all people wake up along with Rainbow Wallet, rainbow.me, and they voted for none, putting none in the lead. Disappointing for some people. I was pleased because I'm in the none camp. And there was some encouragement to get people back over into either the avant-garde or the Karpathy. And this is what the vote was.
Well, it's interesting because that was kind of one of our last conversations, even though I went back to I think the private room when we kind of spoke on Coinbase and the top tier versus voting power. So
yeah. But we got the final results in. There's a but here, not an and. We got the final results in for the EP 2.2.5, the ENS endowment vote. And Karpathy with a narrow win over none of the above. Thank you to everybody that voted and participated. Hopefully you took care, and the voices, the voting choices that you took. But we could see a very, very, very strong showing for none of the above. And just, I don't know, more than just barely, like let's say like 1.6 million to, 1.75. So, but when you add the avant-garde and the Karpathy vote together, the Karpathy won over the none of the above. So Nick Johnson, Nick.eth, has a tweet thread out there. The next steps will involve the Meta Governance Working Group working with the Karpathy team to produce a refined version of their proposal that's ready to be presented to the DAO and executed. There was a lot of feedback in the everywhere, a lot of feedback in the Discuss forum, a lot of feedback on Twitter, a lot of feedback in the Twitter Spaces. And given the feedback during the different process, they're seeing a lot of concerns from people who voted for none of the above. One of those concerns being 80%. We're talking 85 or 80%, about 25, roughly, at least with the avant-garde. It was like 25,000 Ethereum out of the 35,000 Ethereum in the controller address. And it's a lot. And, quite honestly, like from what I'm hearing from some of the experts, I'm not even sure if that 25,000 Ethereum, which is like, $30 million, not sure if that's enough to generate the $4 million in yield that they're looking for. Not to mention the risk, the non-zero risk of a semi-centralized, fund manager. Just imagine if like the ENS DAO money was partly in the hands of FTX, because that was such a good idea. But, there's going to be a lot of discussion about the endowment, a lot of discussion about how much the treasury goes into the endowment. Nick is saying that they definitely want to build something that everybody can get behind. So the meta governance working group is going to be working on a pair of proposals that are going to help lay out the day-to-day treasury operations for the DAO to ensure it has this substantial runway in stable coins independently of the endowment. This is to reduce the DAO's exposure to volatility. I don't know, really, really risky. And this is the state of things. So we're waiting for a refined proposal and next steps, and hopefully we get a lot more feedback from the people that know what is what, so that we can get some, checks and balances and some oversight and insights in place to protect this money coming in.
What do we know about Kaparki?
We know a lot about Karpaki. That's how you pronounce. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I think Gnosis DAO uses them, and Gnosis DAO gets good results if I'm getting that correctly. I don't know. I do know, but there's just a lot to it. They have their, if you go to the Discuss forum, discuss.ens.domains, you can get to the forum and you can see their proposal for this stage, and you can see like what they've done for some other people. They do. It's a really early industry overall, but they do have some history themselves of doing this exact work. And there's already been a lot of discussion on this, but it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a huge percentage of the DAO. It's non-zero risk. It's centralized. Non-zero risk. If we were doing this before the FTX blow up and 10 million of the 25 million was in FTX, that would suck for us. I'm trying to generate $4 million a year, and I don't know if we can do that with all the money that we have, and to lose X amount of dollars in a potential FTX-like situation does not seem prudent to be rushing into without, allowing these questions to A, be asked, and B, to be sort of solutionified. I'm just going to make that a word. I'm deeming solutionified a word.
So this is one of those moments where, anyone that's had an opinion or done some research kind of has to stay engaged. So Nick has said that they will take things into consideration. So if you weren't paying attention in August when this was proposed, and along the way there's been a few different stages and things have changed, and it's great when engagement happens. But if you weren't paying attention in August, but you picked it up in the month after, or whatever, you picked it up in the last few days, it really doesn't matter. It's that if you have something to say on this, it's continue saying that. If you had an opinion on what it should look like, could look like is a better phrase, go to the Discuss forums, have that involvement. And I think it'll be very telling if the outcome of if Nick follows through. No, it's not Nick, it's the DAO. If the DAO follow through on making amendments that do kind of suit the risk adversity of the larger community, or what is ultimately about 50% of the voters, we can't guarantee they're all saying the same thing, but you do have to be active. Everyone has to be active. So I've said what I think would make a difference, and I'm going to make sure that I'm following this as it goes along. It's not going to be tomorrow. It might be a week from now. It might be a month from now. There are going to be multiple opportunities to have our say, And so for anyone that just came in this last week, great, it's perfect, it's fresh. Just make sure it's on your list to go back and check in on it. And I will be impressed, maybe the appropriate word, it may not, but I will be impressed to see amendments that align with a larger consensus. And if not, well, you know, that will definitely impact my confidence in this DAO governance process. But I don't think that'll happen. So I'm going to be active to make sure that doesn't happen.
I think one of the questions that's left looming in the air for me is like, and there is no way to answer this unless you're participating in the discussion. So 184, like, you're spot on. You have to continue being in this discussion. The thing that's looming to me is like, okay, what percentage of the we want to abstain vote, or like we don't want to vote for any of these, breaks down to we believe in the side that says that we can handle it ourselves? What amount of that vote breaks down to we want a different party involved, like a very specific one, or we simply want to have the option to propose more parties and different solutions that may theoretically bring more of them together? And I think that's going to require the DAO and the stewards and Nick and everybody else involved to actually take the time to do a retrospective, speak with the delegates, and understand like how that logic really broke down within why they voted for the no vote. Without that, I mean, ultimately they're just going on blind. And I don't believe, I guess I'm optimistic, I don't believe that they're going to do that. I think they're going to listen. I think they're going to like really make solid inquests, and we'll see where it goes. But there needs to be, what was it that you said, a solvified route?
Yeah, solvified. Yeah, whatever it was, it's good. Let's do it.
I just had to take the dig. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, like I was saying, like, because like my number 2 is the avant-garde product, and I'm not an expert, and I'm not an expert in like knowing the advantages and disadvantages of the avant-garde versus the Karpaki. But the reason I like the avant-garde because they use the enzyme, and I like the enzyme and how it uses graph protocol, and I like that the graph protocol uses Chainlink. So I like that they have all these dashboards that are sort of, you know, open source dashboards that anybody could tap into. But, you know, how do we take those dashboards and create the education and get those in front of people so they can be looking at them, paying attention to them, being active participants, intentional participants in this community, you know, to understand the situation, you know, because if there's like 10 armchair fund managers who are, you know, just spying on the ENS DAO fund manager, and they see something weird with a potential FTX situation, then they can alert, you know, the ENS DAO before some, you know, right? I mean, I'm looking for like a decentralized, I'm looking for power to be distributed. I'm looking for responsibility to be distributed. So instead of having one person who speaks to someone on, you know, one person that speaks to one person in the DAO, right? One fund manager that speaks to one person in the DAO. We could have, one person that's working on it, and they speak to one person in the DAO, but there's 10 or 15 other people who are still keeping their eyes on it because it's all public and decentralized. That seems to be, to me, like a much more robust, resilient system.
Sounds to me like you're calling for excellence as a DAO, and that's not an unreasonable thing to ask for. You know, if we're creating something or developing something, asking for excellence is kind of the role. It's the duty. It's the thing to aspire to. Exceptionality. Let's not be ordinary. Let's be something beyond that. So yeah, that robust proposal, that robust foundation is a must if that's what you stand for. And I think so.
Yeah, excellence. I love that word. I do like excellence.
Gary, can the explanation that you had that in my mind sound like a DeFi auditor that is like attached to what they're going to do? Can now that be put up on a vote, or somebody create this model to say, okay, there's all this money going in there. Is it just going to sit in there, or is it this money now is going to be invested outwards, kind of like what Wells Fargo does with its its public accounts, and then puts it right back when you need it, because that sounds super intelligent and something that I think is something that we all need to really look into.
Yeah, well, I don't. So Karpacki won, and I don't know if Karpacki has that same sort of situation and how, like, what is the transparency of their funds? What is the openness, right? The on-chainness, right, where anybody can have a view inward. Because it's more like a decentralized ragtag crew of like imagine if anybody in the world can just decide one day they want to audit Coinbase. Imagine if one day someone in the world wanted to audit any company or any blockchain and do a proof of reserves. Like, for some reason, we're not doing that now. We can't do that because we're all like, we don't know what the addresses are, because they don't actually tell us, because they don't do proof of reserves. But yeah, so now with the ENS DAO, imagine if we could do proof of like check and like, right? And we have like a decentralized group of people who are auditing, with the FTX stuff. If there is any insight in the world, right? Like, and this is why there's these calls for regulation. Because if they were even remotely regulated, they wouldn't have been able to commit the level of fraud that they did. And the reason DeFi works is because it's all on chain, and people can very clearly see that the DeFi is over collateralized. They can see if someone is trying to do something weird, they're trying to game the system. Like, everybody can see that, and they go, I think this person is trying to like buy a lot of Aave because they're going to try to short curve, and they're going to try to make Aave buy this bad debt by, forcing Aave to like sell Aave token to buy this curve because they got these millions of dollars and they're respect, but it's all on chain. So you can see the weirdness that's happening versus, having no visibility. And I'm just saying, if we're putting 25,000 Ethereum or 25,000 Ethereum of the ENS DAO money into this fund, I mean, maybe, we just like close our eyes and hope for the best and check in once a week, and they'll tell us all the gold is in Fort Knox, and we'll just like shake our head and be like, all right, as long as we get $4 million a year, we believe you.
And just to talk about these decentralized or DeFi, these systems, traders, investors, they hunt liquidity, and these transparent systems, they go in there and they find what is over collateralized, or they find where that liquidity is, and that is great. It creates a more robust system. That transparency, I mean, it doesn't suck if you get targeted, but as more people come in, that DeFi becomes more robust, more users sort of chime in, and we do have that confidence that it is not going to be another FTX or 2008 type saga. So there is much to be said for that transparency. There's stuff that we don't like, but it's a great thing. My 2 cents.
Hey Gary, how we we on that segmented category time schedule?
Who is that? Novex?
No, that's Tech.
Oh, Tech. I think we're doing good. Good. We did the intros in like 10 minutes, and then we did like the grateful thing, and went over that just in case we don't have like it's like a pre-Thanksgiving thing. And then we did the crypto war prisoners segment, so that was good. And so it's been an hour, so those two must have been like 20 minutes each about on average. So I think we're doing good. Oh, then we went over, then we even squeezed in the ENS DAO thing. So I mean, I think we had to do like 15-20 minutes on each. Cool. So I think we're doing, we packed in a lot. We're keeping everything tight.
I wanna ask Mr. Stephen Miller a question. I hear that you'll be coming. I'm not sure where you're from or where you are in the globe right now, but I hear you're coming to Miami for Web3 Miami week / Art Basel and next week?
Yeah, I'm coming out for Metaverse Miami, kind of the most last minute decision I've made recently. And we're going to be doing a live taping of ENS Shark Tank for Twitter Spaces there, with with the three, what I call the primary hosts of the show, all being in one place, being able to allow people to come in and pitch ENS names live, or potentially shop what gets pitched. So
you're doing the show at Metaverse Miami and not at Wynwood Brewing in Wynwood?
Correct. So the event on Monday night is going to be like primarily put together by the ENS Maxis community.
Okay.
So they're doing that solo, and then the next day we're going to be doing this event at a location TBD, but likely over at the hotel area for Metaverse Miami. It's not directly affiliated with Metaverse Miami unless I can make some sweet connection there in the next like 2 or 3 days.
Okay. Because I heard, I think Flexter on some call, I forgot what call it was. He said you would be in Wynwood Brewing or in that area, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I was wondering how you guys made that connection. So the Metaverse Miami will be at Eden Rock, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be at Eden Rock the 28th, 29th, and 30th.
All right, cool. Well, glad to have you in town, man.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Loved being in that city before and coming out for crypto conferences, but this is going to be a very quick turnaround for me. I'm literally flying in on Monday and I'm back out on Wednesday. So just coming in, as ENS punks would say, doing the damn thing and then getting out.
Smart guy.
Miami's where it's at. A lot of cool things happen in Miami.
Anybody else going to be coming in or have anything to do with the festivities in the next week or so? Any projects? No. Okay. I wanted to go ahead and just extend some of my services. I want to be able to, what I like to do when I'm not doing all this other stuff is I like to activate augmented reality, AR, geopin throughout South Florida, wherever I am, So I would love to know, maybe the ENS Maxis logo or whatever you may have as an asset, a 3D or logo, something that you want to throw at me, have it floating around Miami, have it floating wherever you think is relevant of where the show's going to be or where you're going to have it. And, we could do some stuff like that, which I think that would be cool. And that way, we're kind of extending, not just, we're here live on this show, but we're also, geopinned AR. So we're kind of the spectrum of Web3, and all of its, glory.
That's pretty incredible stuff, man. Are you going to be out there for Metaverse Miami?
That list, I mean, I would. I mean, I've seen kind of what's going on there and stuff like that. I usually have my scope first day, stuff that I've been doing. I've been an advocate of Art Basel for the last, I want to say, since 2021, which was the original year it was supposed to happen here. I was on the original design team for Design Miami to do the website, and that's when 9/11 happened, and it was postponed. So it really didn't happen it didn't happen in 2001, then it happened in 2002. And since then, I've always had some kind of piece or something to do with it, being an artist, graffiti writer, street artist, and, pixel pusher, I've seen it evolve, and to the last, I want to say, I made a post yesterday, actually, the Trojan horse, has left the stable, because the reality is it has. In the last 5 years, I've noticed, I think it was 2017, 2018, with the Bitcoin Center in downtown, it really made a big splash where people were coming to Miami during that week, for something other than Art Basel, which for those who are listening and learning and will be watching this in endless replay, Art Basel in itself happens at the convention center in Miami Beach, period. Within that fortress, within those walls, everything else is actually a satellite or during Art Basel. And we all know that, and that's what happens. But last year, I was showing at FTX Arena, formerly known the Miami Heat arena. I tokenized an emerald, and I was an exhibitor at there, and it was a beautiful thing, you know. It's down the street from my house here on Biscayne Boulevard, and you know, while I was there, you know, I was an advocate of Superworld as well, you know, a virtual real estate AR, you know, Web3 company. And while we were there, we've got information that Art Basel or Art Basel Inc. kind of threw a big general cease and desist. People had to stop using Art Basel in their crypto kind of stuff, you know, which that to me says, oh, okay, they know they're here, you know. So I've seen that more and more happen. So yeah, congratulations to your team, to yourself, and everything. And as I call it, this is Web3 Miami Week, you know. And if you could see, like, again, events are starting on the 21st throughout Miami, you know, from the airport through downtown Wynwood, right here, Design District into Miami Beach, and it's running parallel with Art Basel. So I have a pretty good Excel spreadsheet by Dr. Gabby that I'll definitely share with you guys. And yeah, so yeah, I think I might have answered your question there.
Yeah, no, you did. I appreciate it. I'm still blown away by like how staggering the amount of events that you have going on in Miami right now is.
Oh,
like, it's just
absolutely. You can go into Little Haiti, you know, and it'd be like Art Basel lunch. You know what I mean? It's like it's really interesting. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love for art in general in Miami. I mean, from like graffiti bombers, you know, attacking, you know, a 200-foot billboard over I-95 to, you know, the little parts are still bohemian, you know, in Miami Beach, you know, there is a lot of art, this state of art, you know. I want to say I still call it Florida, or at least, you know, to a certain point, you know what I mean? But yeah.
So Gary, what's it going to take for us to get you out to Miami next week?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know, man. I need a plane ticket and a place to stay, and I don't know.
My advice is, again, like you said, oh, there's so much stuff to do, and I have friends that come in town. If there's something that you want to do that. Be with your friends. You know, so you're gonna have lunch at this place, because there will be so much stuff that you're gonna. Oh, I want to go here. I want to go there. It's just focus, get your stuff done. But yeah, I would love to. Gary, are you where you are? Where are you right now?
New York State.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
it's a pretty easy flight, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's a hop and a skip.
I was gonna say, look, man, I booked my flight, I think 2 or 3 days ago.
No, it's right. It's just not a trip I had planned. You know what I mean? I got work. I have the family. I got the holidays. I have limited budget. We're in the precipice of a bear market that's about to like drop off a cliff. Yeah, no, I mean, Miami's like popping. Yeah, I'd love to hang out in Miami. I love Miami. I love Key West. I love Miami Beach. I love Key West.
I'm already tempted. I looked at the Expedia flight, I think from DC. It was like $120 round trip. And Gary, you're upstate New York, so you already know it's cold as hell right now. So I think I would love to come down. But yeah, it's just coming.
Buffalo just got 6.5 feet.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Nah, I looked at it. You know, all the people I spent on Twitter space with are be there. Obviously, people from the Maxis. I see you guys, you know, on all the time, you know, on Twitter space. It's almost like we became, you know, obviously a unit, a family, a team. And it's like, it would be nice even just seeing you guys' faces here in general. I mean, the reason I don't have mine on because I'm in my kids' room and I have so many family in for Thanksgiving. So it's crazy right now.
Peer pressure. People on the camera, man. We're peer pressuring people at the camera.
Nah, I think it's great. And it's just you know, I think this is what we need after, you know, that little setback we had in 2020 with the pandemic. I feel like ENS and this community, this is what we need just to get the voice back. You know, I feel like, you know, before, you know, with Instagram, it's like you're doing live and you know, you're talking and you only see the comments back. but something about just hearing somebody's voice and sincerity, right? Because you can BS all the time on Instagram, or you do a video edit on YouTube or whatever. But this live stuff, man. I think this is great. I can't wait. Like I said, I'm very excited for the future, and just to be a part of this. And yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. I love. Yeah, the show's not over yet, but I love these streams. I love the connecting. It's basically a Zoom call that anybody in the world can tap into, right? It's just as simple as that. And yeah, the dialect in the voice is just a game changer for me, because like social media for me is really hard, because like my tweets are sort of like just cold and matter of fact, and sometimes more often than not they could be taken the wrong way, because I'm just like trying to say something, but maybe it comes off of the wrong tone, or like back in the day, my boss would call it a shit sandwich, where you gotta like, say something nice, and then you give the criticism, then you say something nice, so to, package it. And it's hard to do in 140 characters. So yeah, the voice, especially during the pandemic, that point of connection in Clubhouse and then later in Twitter Spaces was very, very meaningful. And yeah, like the whole thesis is video just adds on to that. And we can get 10 people in this room. And I'm thinking about doing like some theme stuff. I'm thinking about a Whiskey Wednesday or something.
Sign me up.
And yeah, man, Steve, I mean, just, just between me and you, while everyone's like taking a break, yeah, maybe like, if you're interested, like maybe we could do like a live stream video based Shark Tank show. And basically just like your Shark Tank show, and we can give people give people the link for them to jump on, and they could totally Shark Tank pitch their names. They could even have a little presentation if they wanted. We'd have to like take a peek at it first, see if they're gonna.
Yeah, no, look,
I don't want a presentation roulette situation.
Let's talk about it. I definitely don't want that, right? There's no one for the roulette. But I'm more than happy to talk about it with you, man. I think that after 3 hours of Shark Tank today, I'm a little bit, weary to immediately do one on a Tuesday night. But I mean, hey, a Wednesday night.
No. I'm not saying right now.
24 hours of separation, man. All I need is 24 hours of separation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably not there tomorrow, but yeah, we could definitely talk about it, because I just want to see how can we leverage the visual medium to connect with people. Like how can we do Twitter Spaces stuff on YouTube, and then it's going to come full circle, because Elon Musk is going to open up long form video and content creators, right, on YouTube. And Mr. Beast is saying he doesn't. Mr. Beast is saying that Mr. Beast doesn't think Elon Musk can bring the same, revenue streams to YouTube content creators that YouTube is giving. But I'm sure Musk is up for the challenge, and we're live streaming right now on Twitter, right? On twitter.com/mintingcoins. So so yeah, we're just like everywhere. So and it's all about the video medium. That's the point, right? It's like actually watching Shark Tank.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if we could possibly handle Flexer's energy on video as well. It gets pretty overwhelming. I'm just kidding. I love him, and I know
I like the adrenaline rush. I think I'm up for a challenge,
dude. It would be a time, man. But we're all very committed to it.
Above all, he wears pants.
Oh, he will. That's the one thing we can count on him for.
All right.
To me, it's the entire experience is education, dude. Like that's what it comes down to for me. It's another platform to educate through. It's a different angle to help people understand what they're really valuing the entire space at, or like what they're valuing certain domains at. It's something you got to learn. And I love getting the chance to just educate. So even if it's here talking about things like these different current events, I mean, that's what I do through cryptocurrent. And I love doing that type of stuff. So getting the chance to try that on video, I'm up for the challenge.
Love it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's always a lot to go over, and we gotta figure out like what's cool and what's works and what connects with people and what connects with ourselves as the content creators, as the educators. Because right now there's a lot of people that are asking questions. There's a lot of people that are, asking what's up with this Web3 thing or this ENS thing or this NFT thing or this crypto thing or this self-custody wallet thing. And should they get this wallet or that wallet or this NFT or that NFT or this ENS name or that Web3 domain? And if we think shit's crazy now, can you imagine when that bull market comes, man. I mean, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
Out of curiosity, I want to throw this around the room. What do you think is the outlook until we actually hit the next bull market stride?
Can I jump back in, guys?
Yeah. I mean, I almost need people to be on video because like just jump in, man. I mean, if we're all in the same room, that's the thing about being in the same room. When you're in the same room, you could sort of you could feel the energy. Oh, he's gonna say something, Oh, he wants to jump in, And so yeah, it's like conversational. Don't wait for me to like completely shut up.
All right, Gary. It's just with every passing episode, I'm getting more and more prepared to go on the video. I love that. I want to actually talk with you today earlier about the kind of layout. I was thinking that, and it's fine to talk about it here, I think, hopefully. But I was thinking that it would be cool, for the sake of kind of the social dynamic and the personal, media training kind of aspect of this, to have something that happens with Google Meet, where the person talking, kind of their frame goes larger. So with the production setup for different scenes, it might be nice, like, to have one that you go to a lot when it's just you, and then break, just like this. And I think those smaller views where everyone's stacked up are particularly nice because everyone in the frame is just small enough that they don't have to worry about necessarily every little, this is beautiful. Yeah, just leave it here for the whole show, bro. But I really do think that that's a big part of this. And as you're piloting the tools and kind of getting feedback on it, that's just some feedback that I think is kind of having us alternating between smaller frames and then maybe going to larger frames when the person is speaking, and maybe a lot of work on your end. There's probably some hotkeys and stuff involved that could make it a bit easier. But yeah, I love this, and I will definitely join on video. I was actually about to, but I'm a parent of 3, and we're having some very important parenting things going on in the background here, so I've been kind of occupied with that. But I just want to comment. I think it's Corey commented yesterday about the market, and he had said that he sees it kind of going sideways. He thinks we're closer to the bottom than the top, and he thinks it's going to be a lot of sideways before we recover. And I think his analysis was pretty much on point, and I agree with his thoughts on it. What do you guys think?
I think it's going down. I think it's going down. Sorry to say that, not financial advice. But I need to go off. Now to go full me. I'm okay doing this. But no, I think it's going down. I think I think that there's still more money to be fleshed out. I think that there's still like more shoe to drops, like for example, potentially with the grayscale like fiasco that's happening now. I think that not only that like there are more shenanigans to get flushed out inside the crypto market. I think there's more shenanigans that probably have to get flushed out of the main, regular financial market. And I think that on a huge macro level, I'm not sure if the train is about to hit something, or if it's sort of like the train already started slowing down, and it just takes time for the train to slow down and move back up, and so it's kind of like a slow motion crash. But I just think that there's some huge macroeconomic situations that are that the market's going to have to deal with for a while, right? And maybe crypto gets to act differently. But kind of like Corey was saying, if people need to sell stuff to pay dollars, if people need to sell stuff to pay debt, it's still like in the realm of possibility that Bitcoin could go to like $11,000. It's still in the realm of possibility that Ethereum could follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum will go down.
Blood, sideways action, and a lot of people are going to leave. That's the formula. That's the cycle. Even if you think the 4-year cycle is broken, it's still the market cycle, which is more than crypto. So people will leave. Our community will get smaller. That is the bleak and most obvious outcome, and therefore it's the one to prepare for yourself independently, and to prepare for in terms of whatever you're going to do for the next few years. That's as far as I'll go. I mean, because we're all here because we believe in the future of Web3, decentralization, ENS, whatever, metaverse, all these things. But outside of that, next few years, yeah, we're gonna it's gonna be tough. That's what I'm not going beyond that. Riches, wealth, the job of my dreams, and all those sorts of things. This that I'm doing right now, but doing it with a very different landscape. That's for a few years from now. But getting in touch with reality, or the most probable reality, is maybe the wisest thing we can do right now. And that's as far as I'll go.
So I would say sideways for a while, and then it's gonna fall off a cliff, and then after it falls off that cliff, then people will be like, it's really dead. And what I'm saying is like, yeah, after it really falls off that cliff, after going sideways for a while, or after we find out what is it, I just feel like there's a boogeyman somewhere, and it's gonna go sideways for a while, fall off a cliff. Which is what happened before when it went from $20,000 to $10,000 to $5,000. Then it went from $5,000 it spiked down to $3,000 when we thought the world was ending, and then $3,000. Then it went, to the $69,000 moon. And so yeah, sideways drop. Everyone thinks it's really dead, and then we shoot to the moon. But not financial advice. I would just say dollar cost average all the way down, dollar cost average all the way up.
In my experience, I think since 2016, this might be either my third or fourth, what I call a bloody dip, where there's just, carcasses on the street and just mayhem for the people who just got in. They're the ones affected the hardest. They didn't see it coming. For the ones who've experienced it the year before, they're like, oh, here it goes again, as an investor as well as a builder, that's when I build the most. And the reality is people have lost their life savings with FTX. People have lost, a lot. Faith, trust, a lot. People who just came on, they're in their honeymoon. They're like, I don't want to hear it, that kind of stuff. That's the reality. I've been onboarding people for years, and whatever aspect it is, whether it's a chef to try to get, a little QR code with tips or whatever it may be, doing what I did with Web 2 is what I've been doing Web 3, and it's just that common natural evolution. And the hard truth is that, as I stand, at the bay, and I see the tide really low, and I see all the garbage that that people throw in their little fancy yachts or little boats and whatever, and it comes to shore, and I'm like, well, that's the sea throwing it back out, and I don't want to say that about the people who've lost it all, but the reality is, as I think 184 was saying, these bloody dips do filter a lot of bad actors, a lot of bad characters, and unfortunately there is a lot of victims that come along with that. And for those who are making their life just investing in crypto, I could see that number going down more, cause and effect. But the reality is, if you are a builder, or if you are a gateway, a bridge tender, gap, minimalizing that gap between industries, like 0x pickle with the tennis industry, and next it'll be racquetball, and the next will be handball, and next will be who knows, the Olympics. You know, we just got to keep building. We got to keep building, and not just, you know, in the tangible, the intangible. You know, we got to keep building communities and education. You know, these are the times. You know, because if we're talking about right now, if we're talking about right now, you know, about, you know, what we've seen coming. We know there's a storm in Miami. We know when there's a monster out in the Atlantic, and we got 7 days to get our ish together. You know, we start preparing for it. But doesn't mean I stop working. Doesn't mean I stop pushing pixels. Doesn't mean I stop doing what I'm doing. We need to have our mental health right. We need to know what may come, but continue building, continue doing whatever may come. You're going to continue moving forward. And if, you know, whatever may come, if it's not the boogeyman and it's just kind of like the bully at the end of the block, then we've had something to show for it. What did you do during that market? Well, I built this. We created this. We have an army behind us now going forward. And yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and inside of all of that is what I'm hearing, which is conviction, right? You've got peace inside. Ah, this is terrible. You've got peace inside of of your peace inside of your peace inside of your conviction, and that will have you survive what is bleak, absent of that conviction. So yeah, everyone's got to kind of you know, why are you here? Find out your why, and really let that be the guiding thing. But be inside of reality. Protect yourself. Protect that conviction, because we will all waver. But yeah, what you're doing, you love it. You're happy about it. You like where it's going. Why I'm here? Because I like where it's going, and that's going to take longer than I'm patient enough for. And along the way, I'm going to learn different lessons that have me be more patient, or have me be restless and upset, and they have certainly occurred over the years that have passed.
One of those lessons that we got to learn is being comfortable with ourselves, and putting ourselves out there, because we're the crew that's like showing up to Twitter Spaces every day. We're the crew that's putting ourselves out there. We're the crew that's building. I mean, there's other people part of the crew than just us six, but you know, but we're part of that crew, and we're you know, and no pressure on Novak's, because I hear he's working on a studio and he's in his kid's room, but you know, we're the crew that, you know, we're putting ourselves out there, and maybe we're putting our faces out there, and what that means is that we're going to be prepared to speak to larger audiences. We're going to be able to prepared to educate rooms of people, and we're going to be, you know, I mean, it's a skill to have that comfortability of putting yourself on camera and be able to speak to a camera and be able to, you know, connect with people. So, you know, it's all connected.
0x Pickle, I want to hear you, but before you do, and just to add, the reason why I have that kind of like vision is because the early crypto artists, the early trash artists, glitch artists, the ones that were called trash by the, you know, the museums and galleries, going, what are you guys doing? You know, where was Bitcoin? What was the number of Bitcoin? What was Ethereum at the moment? Ethereum didn't even exist. First crypto art was actually minted on BTC. You know what I mean? It wasn't about that higher mark. Obviously now we've all grown and we're like, oh, we can make money on this. Like, we can make money. I can make a living on this, you know. Stop making websites 2 years ago, you know. It's like pushing this, you know. So it's like we have to sometimes remember, where did this come from in such a short time? You know, a decade, you know, I feel, you know. So it's almost like, okay, remember the elementary of this. How do we start? You know, and that, in a sense, if we get back to that number, well, guess what? Remember where you were. You know, we have our peaks, we have our valleys, and sometimes from our peak we see that mountain we want to be at, but there's no bridge. We're gonna have to climb down to come back up. So yeah, that's a fortune cookie for you guys.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback a little bit. I mean, you know, from the out, you know, I'm an outsider, guys. Like, honestly, I didn't get into crypto, and honestly, my first advice was probably last Thanksgiving, telling like, hey man, you gotta go get some Dogecoin. You got to go buy some Sandbox. That was last Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna probably hear about it this year. But I think that what makes me a little different. You guys are, in the crypto field way longer than I am. But for me, just being in there now that I'm experienced, this is, I heard it's not the worst yet, but it's not too bad. I think I have ENS. I think I have ENS and some of these projects to work with. And for me, it's like, it's fun. Like, yes, I barely have any more ETH left in my wallet, but I feel like, hey, I learned how to do IPSF. I'm a tradesman, honestly. Stringing rackets, that's kind of a tradesman type thing. Work with my hands, and the fact that it's kind of fun to kind of work on IPSF, going on YouTube, learning from this 16-year-old or 12-year-old, teaching me how to do IPSF, linking it on my ENS, and now I create a couple things that I can kind of build. We call it building, right? I feel like it's crazy. It's so easy for me that everything's so accessible with YouTube and stuff like that. And of course, having you guys asking small questions, I feel like I can come into any time, any space, and find out the answers really quickly here. And I'm very excited for that. And I'm playing around with the Sandbox. I spent I bought early, and I got some during last year where it was like at 13,000. Now it's like 1,300. But I was still able to. Not at your caliber. I'm playing around with the voxel art, stuff like that. And I'm still, it's fun because I'm creating I'm creating this digital Selenko metaverse of this tennis tournament and stuff like that, so I can create a story. So I use things that I have, even though they might not be all-time high right now, but I'm still be able to use things like that to tell my story, and that's how I got this deal with Selenko. Was, hey, I showed him, hey, I got the ENS, this is what you can do with it. I can even just send it to your DSN right now. I'm working on Sandbox. I can create the story for you where you can kind of show, your players like, hey, this is possibly the metaverse, and how you can kind of use ENS and subdomain possibly in the future to kind of give this experience to your community. And I'm very grateful for that. But for me, I feel like, I haven't felt too bad because, like I said, I'm brand new and I'm willing to learn. And obviously, I think this is the perfect time for me. I was at a high, and now it's like, okay, things are crashing down a little bit. All my PFP projects are dead. Everything that I minted last year at 2.5 is worth 0, but I still have this community. I literally onboard this tennis brand, top 5 in the world, literally from the community that was just part of this Twitter space. Like, literally, I met them on this Wake and Bake. You guys have seen it with Get Hyped and with Doobie. Like, people, it's a Wake and Bake. I trusted these people that I spent every morning with for 28 days. And the fact that I brought a company that I dealt with for 5 years and my reputation in real life, I was so comfortable with everybody's expertise, knowledge, and I knew everybody was going to steer me in the right direction. And I have this ENS, I have this community, and I have this, this is all worth it, right? So I have you guys to thank. I appreciate you guys have the ENS more, update show, and I can come in and talk about that and, be relevant. So yeah, that's kind of my take as far as, the crypto, where I feel like I'm brand new, and I think I love seeing this kind of unfold, good or bad. So yeah, I appreciate it.
But look, to 184's point, like, it all comes down to conviction for all of us at the end of the day. And we all come from unique little parts of the world, and your part of the world happens to be, heavily knowledgeable about big tennis. None of us can get in there because it's a racket. But to me, I really do see it as like, we've got a lot to do. We do. And I think the conviction note is, in all reality, what we need to continue to press ourselves on. We have to ask ourselves why we're here. What is it that's going to keep us in the space? And I challenge people with that, like, regularly, especially when I'm talking to them on like advisory calls and stuff like that. Because realistically, like, I've been in here since 17, but there's just business experience that I advise from. It's not like I'm advising from a crypto expertise, right? We're all just educators. We're all still learning. But when I look at the long term of like, okay, what's it going to take for us to get from here to the next bull cycle? Gary, it goes back to something you were saying, right? It's the idea that there could be some other big drop. I think the next drop is very, very within reach, but it's going to be because we need to determine what the true scope of FTX was. Without that, we won't know how big that drop is, and it will go sideways. But I think that there is more conviction in the market today, and there has the potential to be more conviction in the market today than there was a year into the crash after 18, right? If you think about where we were in 19, I'm not sure that the conviction is going, like, I'm pretty sure the conviction is going to be higher than it was at that point in that bear market. So I'm optimistic, but I'm still that slight bit skeptical.
Well, it's not just a conviction,
Mhm.
right? Like the conviction is like, we can't take anything away from that. We have to like put that in bold, underline it, emphasize it. It's like the conviction and to your point, not just having the conviction, but knowing why you have that conviction. But even so, especially now when people like me, and it sounds like people like you, think that there's another shoe or two that can drop, like Genesis is a big shoe, you know what I mean? And that could lead to other shoes. And hopefully it doesn't lead to, heaven forbid, Coinbase or Grayscale, right? But like, let's not get into what I want to add on to conviction is the execution. It's the doing, right? Because it's like knowing someone's great idea. You don't have to sign an NDA because you're not going to do anything with it, right? And so, you know, listening to 0x Pickleball, hearing you speak, you're like, yeah, I'm not technical. Yeah, I'm just like hanging out and listening to you guys, and I'm happy to be here. But then you're saying how, and then with the other part of your brain, when you're not judging yourself, you're like, oh yeah, I'm like highly connected with all these OGs, like the people in the ENS updates room, and I'm hanging out and minting coins with all these other OGs, and I'm in the room, and I'm also in the room over here, and I'm also in the room over there. Oh yeah, and I create highly sophisticated. I mean, you didn't say highly sophisticated, but you create web. I'll just say Web3 HTML full, Web3 distributed websites on IPFS. That's you, man. You do that. You create fully distributed HTML based IPFS websites for Web3 using decentralized human readable NFT Web3 domain. Just pack in all the words, and you tell that to somebody. Even say it in a simple way. Be like, yeah, I make Web3 IPFS websites. It's like really simple. I just use HTML and ENS names using distributed IPFS, and yeah, it's just really easy, and anybody could do it. And they're gonna look at you with like, I don't know what you just said, but you're the most technical dude in the world, right? Because you've done the execution with something as simple as IPFS, right? And like a bunch of other shit that you were talking about. And so, yeah, it just like, I would just coach you to say, like, you got to recognize the imposter syndrome in yourself, because you're obvious, it's like, again, you're like, yeah, like I'm not technical and I'm not this and I'm not that. But again, you put yourself in the room of these pickleball companies. You put yourself in the room of like consulting with them. You're like, yeah, I'm not you didn't say this, but you're like, yeah, I'm not a like businessman entrepreneur that does consultations with like big, multinational corporations. I'm just some dude that happens to do consultations in an entrepreneurial business fashion with these multinational corporations. You know what I mean? It's like you're saying you don't do something and you're doing the very thing that, and the thing that you are not doing that you say that you don't do is a good thing, right? Like some people have this problem with, they're like, I'm not a chain smoker as they're chain smoking, but you're all like, I'm not a IPFS Web3 developer when you're actually a IPFS Web3 developer. You know what I mean?
But what's more, like the really, really cool thing is that, I mean, despite, we just lost Visual, the important thing to take away is like, it's okay for you to also not present yourself as technical to them. You have the technical knowledge. It's in here. Okay. Like you have the reference point. Like, how to connect with these people. How ultimately you can get them to understand stuff because you understand it from their lens. You understand it from their perspective. If you can frame that, you win.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, it's hard. And I think that's what empowers this space. I feel like there's so many people like me out there. They have great ideas. You hear them in spaces all the time, and it's just like that self-confidence. It's one of those things. Like in real life, it's so hard. I had to do so much just to prove myself, and still doing it. I just feel like I have so much power here in this community to, like, hey, this is what I can do. Even if I feel it's still small, but like you say, except for them, they probably feel like, hey, this is a lot. But at the same time, it's like, it's making yourself believe that mindset. I think for me, I'm just not there yet. And I hopefully each and every day that I'm around spaces, I'm introducing people to this ecosystem, teaching them how to pin a post, on a Twitter space. That's fun already. And things like that. I just feel like, man, obviously, having the conversation earlier, I was like, what are they talking about a little bit? And then I was like, oh man, this is where I need to be. And like I said, sometimes I just need to sit back and obviously listen. But at the same time, it's like, it's just hard it's hard sitting in with the big boys. You know what I mean? Like, even the Shark Tank, it's fun. It's like, just being on stage gets you kind of like scared already, because like, you kind of know, but do you know? And then there's always somebody who knows more than you. It's like, crap, I don't know jack, and that's like the reality check. I feel like, some places, like the spaces, like you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. There you go. So, yeah, I feel what you get. I'm going to work on it, man. Every day I'm going to work on it.
0x, kind of like what you're saying, like, well, I'm not there yet, but the reality is we never know when we are there, because it's about a journey, right? So either you're just focusing on the destination, or you're just on your way, and you're just like you're checking out the topography. You're like, oh wow, check this out, check that out. Something like resonated when you said something. You said how you grabbed the ENS and then you went to Sandbox, right? And then you're creating kind of like a virtual simulation of the pickleball court. Is that what's going on there?
Right.
Okay. So let me hold you there, right? So that's great. And I love already the way your mind is creating these, and that's how you presented it to the end user, to the client, right? So I'm gonna throw something at you, right? So there's the ENS, right? You have the digital real estate, right? Then you have the virtual real estate, which is on Sandbox, right? And then I'm gonna give you another layer, right? So in your mind, I don't want you to say the city or the address, but where a lot of these pickleball tournaments are happening, or plays are happening, correct?
Oh, yes, of course.
Right. So now imagine if you can go on this magical journey, right? On a click of on a couple of clicks, right? Almost on that click, if you're looking at the chat, there's a URL right there, right? Where you can go to there, and that'll be your stepping stone. And then you can go ahead and find within the whole world all your pickleball courts where they're being tournaments and stuff like that. And you can own 100 by 100 meters on chain, on Ethereum, that location. And it is an NFT. Now you have the ENS. Now you have Sandbox, and now you're going to tell the guys, oh, where the championship is going to be, we actually own that as well. Now we could do augmented reality there. Now we can do events there. Now we can do this there. So check out that link. Go to town. I'm sure you're going to figure it out. Hit me up on the DMs. Hit me up on Twitter. And I think you're going to do great, man. And you're already there. So, it's just levels, man. It's just levels.
That's why I'm here. I'm so glad. I was nervous, because I was asking people, like, have you guys been in Gary Palmer Jr.'s spaces before that? And everybody's like, yeah, it's great. He's like, just be prepared. I'm like, for what, And obviously, I'm here with great minds. So I'm like, I'm psyching myself. Like, man, I hope he doesn't ask me some stuff that I just don't know how to answer. But we got we got Anonymous over here with no backs coming in the clutch.
I think it's Novax or someone that has.
Remember, November 8th.
Right.
Yeah, the 8th of November. Yeah, so when you're remembering the 8th of Novembering, or you're thinking about any of your good ideas, I just want to put out there real quick before we wrap up in like 5 or 10 minutes here. There is the ensgrants.xyz. ensgrants.xyz, and you can, this is really great, because if you are trying to figure out what to do in a space or things of that nature, you can go to Gitcoin grants, you can go to ENS grants, you can click on view, you can check out some of the grants in here, such as web3domains.com, ENS grows. There's name wrapper support. There's a lot of great projects in here, but you can also submit your own, and this is good for you as a builder or someone that's thinking about being a builder. because you can think about what is the title of a project, what is the Twitter of that project, what is the payload address, you know, what is a summary, what is a description. You know, you can start thinking about, you know, like, who are you, what do you do, and how does that help the you know, the overall community. And you can, you know, get in here and you can, you know, read what other people are doing, and you can sort of like, you know, perhaps get inspired, or what we got here, yeah, get inspired, or yeah, or if you have ENS tokens, this is something that you can vote on. So submissions close in 14 hours. So sorry to put this on you in last minute, but you do have more than 12 hours. So you could sleep a whole 8 hours, come back, still have 6 hours to get it done.
So Gary, do you want to talk about that Web3 domains?
Do I want to talk about Web3? What's there to talk about? I hear it's a cool website, Web3 Domains, a Web3 and ENS project. Looks like it's raising awareness and ranking of Web3 and ENS content in Google, increasing visibility for independent writers, helping to increase findability of Web3 content. And yeah, this is a website that we own and operate, Web3 Domains. And yeah, we pay content writers to write content to bring their stories to to publication. And so yeah, just like great content, great interviews, great great like technical insights, great cultural insights. There's you know, there's tech articles about integration, culture, ecosystem, name sales, security. And then in addition, we have like this great forum. And you know, this is being worked on and this is being developed, but there's like getting started and, you know, security and legal and tools. We're wanting, you know, get all this stuff hooked up for people. And so, you know, if you're just like getting started and you're like mint, buy, set your primary name, you know, and you could just see, you know, setting primary. You know, so this is the forum right here that we're building out now. And then, you know, anybody can like post a, you know, in the forum, obviously is how the forum works. But then we also have like the guide here. You know, because then like we have like full articles too. So this is an article written by Drea.eth. Awesome content creator and writer in the community. And yeah, this is just detailing, you know, this information and just another resource for people to get content found. And yeah, we have a grant open with Gitcoin grants. We have a grant open with ENS grants here for this 1 ETH. And yeah, vying for votes if you got them.
Yeah, so I might just share that everyone's got a different approach of how they're going to look at this, but it's a great way for community to kind of have their say if you own some responsibility tokens. So my approach is I don't understand everything that's in here, especially when you get outside of ecosystem and into public goods. That's beyond my understanding. But what I do understand, it's got to hit a criteria for me. It's, do I think this is valuable to the general ecosystem? Do I think this is something that's going to make a difference to people as they begin their journey? Or do I think it's going to make a difference to what I believe is the next chapter, which is private enterprise are going to essentially build out this amazing thing that we're all a part of in ENS. So I like projects that are going to do that. They're going to educate somebody or solve a problem, or maybe they're on the cusp of delivering something to a group that hasn't been serviced or whatever it is. So you're all going to have your own criteria, but it is just a phenomenal way to begin doing something.
Participation, execution. It's like recognizing the conviction, but then you have to do more than conviction. You can't just have conviction. I mean, like if you're a lone wolf, you still can't have conviction. You still need to buy and hold, right? And yeah, you got to have conviction to buy and hold, right? I'm 100% like, you got to start with conviction, but you got to take the action of buying, and also the action of holding is an action, right? The action of doing nothing is an action. Like holding weights above your head, is using muscle energy, even though you're not contracting, so, there's a lot of people that they see the writing on the wall. They show up to the shows. They believe the red pill, but the market, the Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million one day, and they're going to still have never bought in. They're not they believe in ENS, but they don't own their ENS name. They believe in Bitcoin. They don't own Bitcoin. They know they shouldn't have their keys on the exchange, but all their keys are on the exchange, right? There's people that have conviction. There's people that have deep, deep conviction that their keys should not be on the exchange. But do they take the action? Do they follow through with the execution? So yeah, so good things to think about. And this week before Thanksgiving, good things to think about when we're thinking about Ross and Virgil and Alexey. Alexey, not sure which one he goes by. And good things to think about when we're thinking about the ENS grants and like where we fit into this world, because like, I mean, the reason I talk the way that I do and I bring these things up is because I feel like I don't fit in Web3. I feel like I don't have a voice, or my voice isn't meaningful, or the services that I provide, like aren't better than, what someone else could do. You know what I mean? Or they're, or maybe these conversations, aren't going to add value, or just negative. You know what I mean? But, I just, there's only so long, like I can do nothing before I realize I have to do something. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like I don't know how else to say it. You know what I mean? It's like, I have imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know if I should show up. I don't know, right, if I'm adding value, but I kind of like tried that, you know what I mean? I tried doing nothing, or I tried having, I definitely had conviction, and I tried just helping. I tried just being on the sidelines. I tried, being a cheerleader and supporting other people, and it's just not enough. People need to, they need to participate. They have to get in the race. Even if you're a coach, you still got to like participate, right? And you guys are participating, and it really helps me. Like, having a community is really helpful. It's really encouraging, and I see all you guys building, and super, super exciting. Because if this is how exciting it is now, and I know it's not like super exciting in the bear market here, I'm not like lying to myself, but there is a lot of things happening, and I'm building, and it is fun building. I see other people building, and it's fun to see their energy of creating. But if there's this much happening now, like it blows my mind, like how crazy Web3 is going to be in this next bull market. And I don't know if it's going to be now or later, whenever it is. I don't know, but it's gonna be... You're on mute, Pickleball, if you're talking. Oh, you're probably talking to someone in your room.
Julia, my wife, is over here, man. She's trying to sneak some alpha here too with you guys.
Gotcha. I'm reading his lips. I just got the secret coins to buy.
Gary.
Yeah, cool. So we'll go around the room, wrap it up. So last thoughts. Yeah. So what do you got?
I was actually just gonna say, man, like, listen to the way that you were talking about it. I wanted to at least share the little bit of, I guess, perspective with you that I think goes a long way. And I know that there are plenty of people in this space that it may just seem like they're blowing smoke, but like there's actual story. Like there's a time that I straight up remember where I was in a space and you were on stage, and it was the literal moment that like I converted to an ENS bull. And I remember it vividly. It was you explaining the difference between what was going on with ENS versus Unstoppable. And had you not been doing that, had you just been a cheerleader, I'm not here. I'm not with you guys. I'm not educating on ENS on a daily basis. Like that, you can't make that shit up. And it's really, really incredible when you get the opportunity to do that for somebody. So I thank you for doing that for me. And I straight up hope that while at times like we need cheerleaders, we need to be our own cheerleaders. I hope that if you question yourself, and that's not just to you, it's to every single person that's, you know, on the stage right now, plus everybody that's listening at home. If you're questioning what you're doing, good. But don't doubt for a second that you don't have the potential to have impact, and that you should 100% let your voice be heard, because this is a space that wants to hear it. Don't stop.
Yeah, man. Butterfly effect. Butterfly effect. And where can people find you for more information?
You can follow me on Twitter at @SteveMiller_PHX. It is a needlessly long domain that I'm hoping will eventually just interchange with StephenMiller.eth. But you can also find me over on Cryptocurrent. I do a show over there called The Aftershock every single Wednesday. In fact, tomorrow I'll be unpacking the potential dominoes that are going to fall next out of FTX. So we'll be doing a little bit more of that. But of course, Twitter is the best place to find me.
Cool. And Tech Mental, thanks for coming over again.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this. This is dope. This is dope. Before the show, I said, yeah, I'm gonna do this and just, you know, hit the shower and just. But now, I'm gonna jump in. I got some building to do, you know, and I appreciate you guys, everyone in this call. Novax, informally known as Novax. Yeah, man, just moving forward. And again, whether it's a bull market or a bear market, we are the market, right? Because we're builders, you know. So it's like, you know, what do farmers do in the snow? You know, they know that they put in their work in the summer and the spring, and they knew they had harvest, you know, stuff like that. So we just keep building whatever we can do every day, whether it's just phone call, you know, sending someone a link that says, hey, I heard you on that call. We don't know each other, but I think this is the thing you were talking about. You know, all you guys every day, you know, and if I don't know, haven't told you, you guys inspire me to move forward. So I appreciate everyone on this call. And I'm Tech Mental. You can find me techmental.com. If it's easier to remember, it's web3.miami. Find out a little bit about me, where I come from, and how I'm building and connecting, you know, from Web 2 to Web 3 and beyond. So yeah, I'll see you guys out there.
Awesome. Who's next? Pick a ball.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, thanks for having me. This has definitely been fun, definitely eye-opening, and you know, I can't wait to. Honestly, I can't wait till next year already. Like I said, I'm very hyped. This gives me a lot of passion moving forward. You see you guys talking about this. See, there's more than so many people out there just don't know this, don't know, you know, about what's going on. And I can't wait to kind of spread that into that in my world, right, where the tennis is. And hopefully, you know, hopefully I'll be down there in Miami Open right there. We get together, you know, do some. I'm going to check out that link that you sent me. I think that's really awesome. And these are the ideas that I need, guys. And like I said, this pushed me forward. So, you know, when you kind of finish a project, you're like, what's next, right? You kind of get, well, you're in winter, right? I'm just chilling. But I feel like, hey, I can't wait to get back into the summer, start getting back into the farm, right? Doing things like that. So you guys can catch, if you guys are interested in tennis stringing, if you want to see what part of our world, you can definitely check out our Instagram, Mains and Crosses. On there, we have a lot of videos on, you know, teaching how to string. It's our daily lives of a tennis stringer, basically. But besides that, Twitter Spaces, ENS Wake and Bake, I'm kind of doing things with Hype and Doobie in the morning, kind of co-hosting there. So, you know, we're just doing for the culture. But thank you for having me, everybody here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Pickleball's taking America over by storm. All right. Who do we got?
Okay.
184.
Yeah, I'll give you two things. So a little bit of a piggyback. That journey of showing up, having conviction, and actually action. It's going to take. I'm going to speak from my experience. It's going to take a while to find your voice. I'm still finding my voice. I don't know what that is. There's plenty of failures over the years. There's plenty of failures now. There's plenty of failures daily, and I'm rediscovering what that is, what I stand for, how I'm going to present. That is all part of the journey. Expect it. It's pretty fun, especially when you sort of lean into the uncomfortable. And outside of that, you will find your self-expression. Again, that self-expression will change. Expect it, but lean into it. It's all good. The second thing is I'm going to give you some alpha. So I'm not American, so I've either dodged a bullet or I've missed out on Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving can be tough for all those crypto people out there. So just remember, the alpha is get your family's last name so you can always lord that over them. Lord it over them. Don't give them their subdomains until they're nice to you. That's the alpha.
So squat on your family's squat on your family's names. That is like take a list, be like Santa Claus. If they're nice, then they're gonna get a gift. And if they're naughty, then they're gonna look up their ENS name and there's gonna be a picture of a coal. You're gonna pay an artist to commission a art of coal and then put it as a PFP of their name. That's what they're gonna get.
Question is, if they're good, are you gonna wrap the subdomain for them for Christmas? Just kidding.
But will I burn the fuse? That's the question.
Burn the fuse. He wants to explode. Novax, what's up, man? Are you here?
Yo, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, I'm coming to you from my PC for the first time, my friends. Good to see
where
you.
are you? Oh, hey, there. Whoa.
So we're out here hanging with Gary Palmer frequently, because it's a good time and it's good to see everyone and meet everyone. Stephen Miller, Pickleball 184, and any failure that you've experienced in the markets over the years. You know, I mention often, I started building these GPU mining rigs. I got some videos even on my Twitter of some old mining rigs and hardware crap from back in the day. But I've had taken some huge L's, where the electric bills were just too much, and I just got rugged myself. But look at where you are now. You know, look at where you stand. 184 over here. You're 184. That's all you need to say. You're 184.eth. Like, you've arrived in a way. Like, you've arrived, man. I mean, that's real talk. And it's good to see people like Pickleball doing industry and stuff. Like, these sessions are the most valuable, and I can't even believe how much just the tip of the iceberg we've only started to get at here with these. You know, this is gonna be stuff that comes out of here, ideas, partnerships, and just like I'm getting so much out of it that I can apply for real. I've been picking up domains. You know, I've been saying the other day I picked up pedometer. I've got FUCKTRUMP. It's going to be a big hit eventually in this climate right now. That's a hot potato to hold. I'll tell you that right now. But I think, this is a blessing and it's a gift to be here with you guys. I really appreciate, all this.
Very cool. Well, yeah, man. Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks for talking about all this stuff. It's really cool to have these conversations and just to have it here for posterity. And just getting these conversations going, it's like getting started is hard. And one day, I just hear the stories that you guys probably hear. Like one day, people see someone and they just see the success. They don't see like all the hard work and stuff like that. And yeah, we're all trying to figure it out. And instead of figuring out alone, it's good that people can connect with other people. And sometimes you have people you can connect with directly, and sometimes you don't, and you're looking for people on Twitter Spaces, you're looking for people on YouTube. I didn't have people to connect with, and so I found people to connect with on Twitter Spaces. I found people to connect with on YouTube, and now you guys are those people, and we're here and then hopefully people will find this content and connect with us, and just sort of like continue that cycle. And and so I'm just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue that cycle. I'm gonna continue showing up. I'm gonna continue making content. Gonna let it be written word with Web3 domains and multimedia content with minting coins, and technology and education with minting coins, and a part of that is including the community and the collaboration. And so going to continue doing that. And so really appreciate you guys, really appreciate the support. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/mintingcoins, twitter.com/Gary Palmer Jr., and mintingcoins.com. You could become a member, become a part of the a part of the members only forum, a part of the members only videos. Those will be really fun, really interesting as we work our way into those. But until then, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.